everyone, this is Jamie of the Paper Heart Project, and I just wanted to sit down and have a glance through one of my favorite scrapbooks. This is my London album. I've shared a lot of pages on the blog, but just kind of wanted to flip through it with you tonight, or excuse me, today. So let's get started. Here is the title page, one of my absolute favorite pages. I love the design of this. It's absolutely one of my favorites. I made this as part of the Little Black Dress design team. I love the colors, and ever since I got this kit, I've started in some way, shape, or form incorporating black and white elements as much as I can, because I just loved how beautiful black and white looks with just an array of colors. So I thought I'd just flip through and kind of point out some of my favorites and just some of the fun things I've done with this album. It's not complete, but here it is in all its glory. And I will say that, you know, there's a good number of pages in here, and I think honestly this title page was the last one that I've done, so I definitely don't scrap chronologically. And again, this is another one of those pages that was made with the Little Black Dress design team kit. So you can see the colors are somewhat similar. But then after that, they're just a bunch of fun pages. Like here is where I lived in London, the first apartment I lived in, and it was an apartment complex with a blue front door, which, you know, I love the movie Notting Hill, and that was the big thing about Hugh Grant's apartment. This isn't in Notting Hill, but it is a home with a blue front door. This is actually in Maida Vale, if anyone's familiar with London. And then I made sure to take pictures of my local tube stop, Warwick Avenue, which Duffy, who was really big at the time, had written a song about, and I guess she lived in the neighborhood as well. Jude Law lived in this neighborhood, which was pretty awesome. I did a page on working in the city, which is the literal city of London. And I just incorporated, you know, some work photos, the crazy things that we did while we were there. I worked for Deutsche Bank, so I added their logo and just a little bit of ephemera. This was a map that kind of showed you all the locations around the city. I can't remember what I did this one for. I think it was with Challenge Masters, just for fun. It was about using your scrapbooking your most used tool. So instead of just talking about my Mac, which is what I use a lot in my scrapbooking, I decided to make a page about how much I used this while I lived in London, because obviously, you know, being so far away from home, you kind of needed to stay connected. So this was just a random picture that my roommate had taken of me, but I love it because of the Mac, the apples. There's apples here. I think I love this page. It's so much fun. I love the color as well. Here is a page I did using a really old Dear Lizzie sketch. I loved that it incorporated all the different colors. Here's another page I did, and I don't know, you can kind of see I need to replace this. There was a banner here that just would not stay, and still haven't gotten around to fixing it, but one of these days I will. Oh, and here's a page about my birthday, which this was just this weekend, was my 29th birthday, and here are the photos from my 23rd birthday. It was an awesome birthday. We did a river cruise on the Thames, and there was like 40 people there. I had so much fun. We really enjoyed ourselves, and so just loved scrapbooking this night. And this is one of my all-time favorite pictures of me and my roommate. I have it framed elsewhere in the apartment. Here's another Little Black Dress kit page. I just wanted to do something about some of my really close friends, the people that I relied on the most, definitely when I first started working in London and when I moved. My roommate and two of my workmates. Love those guys. And then my parents came to visit later on in the trip, or excuse me, in that program. So, you know, none of these pages are really in order. Yeah, these are kind of in order. It's at the beginning of my trip, and then, you know, here's kind of towards the end. This was with a Studio Calico kit, if I remember correctly. This one I didn't do that long ago. There's a bit of ephemera here. This is the backside of Buckingham Palace. So if you've ever visited London, you can only get inside the Buckingham Palace to visit the staterooms in a very limited window of time. It's like in September when the Queen is over in Dover, and so or Balmoral. I don't know. She's somewhere not in Buckingham Palace, so that's when they open up the palace for people to come and visit. Here is a scrap lift. I did this so long ago. It's a scrap lift of one of Wilna's pages. And I loved her lettering, so I tried to mimic that. And she had butterflies in typical Wilna fashion, just kind of all along the way. And this was just a fun day of walking around London. Blue skies, gorgeous blue skies. Come on, we all know what London is, you know, fabled. It's always dreary in London, and for the most part that's true, but there are some absolutely gorgeous days when there's blue skies, and of course I had to document it. So this is through Regent's Park, one of my most favorite places in the city. And this is a page about my roommates. I love that in this album I've included not only kind of event-based things like when my family was here, my birthday, but I also wanted to do just random memories. And this is one of my absolute favorite pages. My roommates and I watched this DVD on repeat for about 6 months. I kid you not. And it was really funny because people would come over and visit, and they would always remark, "Oh, hey, weren't you watching this last time I was here?" And it's like, yes, we definitely were, because Zara, my lovely Zara, loved this movie. We all love the movie, but Zara really loved the movie, and it was just constant background noise in our apartment. So I moved back to London and had left this DVD somewhere. I can't remember where I left it. So I immediately had to come home and buy a new copy because there's no way I was going to go out without Pride and Prejudice. But I guess I had left it with a friend. The friend returned it to me years later, and so I was like, oh, I have to scrapbook because this was the exact DVD that we played over and over again. And I love this paper. I can't remember. College Press, I think, was the name of the company that did it. But it's just an excerpt from the book, and I pretty much left it, you know, I wanted to make sure that you could see as much of it as I could. So here's the 2-page layout, you know, with just a little bit at the top and then at the bottom, and, you know, this fun picture of us that doesn't have anything to do with Pride and Prejudice, but is definitely a part of our life together when we lived in London. And then these are just some fun, you know, pages from going out. Corey, you can barely make out her dress, but her dress was black with like yellow flowers on it, which this paper, this Dear Lizzie paper, was perfect for it, so I had to use it. Just some very random pages, and this one is so fun because we obviously got to celebrate the 4th of July, our independence, in London when we were living there, and we decided to do a cruise on the Thames, so you can see Big Ben in the background here. But everyone was decked out in their red, white, and blue finest, and we just had a good time out in the Thames. I got to go to Wimbledon, and we didn't actually go in and watch the match, but Serena and Venus this was the year that they were playing each other in the finals, were practicing on some courts outside, so everyone kind of flocked there, because literally this is how close we were to her. Incredibly close. So it was awesome to get these action shots. Work drinks were a big deal in my time in London, and so here's a couple of my team members. Love these guys. They were so fun. I love this page too. It's just a big mashup of a bunch of photos of, you know, the people that essentially became my family while I was away. And this particular page happens to be just about roommates, but believe me, there's plenty of other people that were near and dear to me. And this, I think, this came out, like, the movie The Hangover came out kind of just after we were gone, and so the whole idea of the wolf pack was really big, and I did some hidden journaling back here behind it, just kind of a play on the speech that Zach Galifianakis does in that skit. Here's when I start with photos and things that, so I work for the British government. I work for the Brits, so I get to go home, excuse me, that was not intentional. I get to go back to the UK once or twice a year, and so this is one of the work trips that I took, and these are some of my work colleagues, and I need to come back in and kind of fix some of the letterings on this. But this is from 2011, and I've been going back ever since, really. Here's another page, just kind of about how, you know, every time I go back to London, it's easy to pick back up, you know, it's home. I literally just called it home without even really intending to. This was during my trip while I was there. Me and my friends, Josh and Jonathan, would go on these random trips to London. We'd literally just pick a city, get on a train, and go visit it for the day, just walking around. We call them our J3 trips because obviously all of our names start with J's. And so we went to Winchester and Winchester Cathedrals, where Jane Austen was buried, and it was actually the last place that she lived before she died. So this is a picture of her home, or the front door of her home. There's a plaque out there. You can see it here too. And I just had fun playing with this great paper from October Afternoon, and doilies, and, you know, just very Jane Austen, it felt like to me. Here's another Jane Austen thing. A couple years back when I was there for work, I just woke up on a Sunday and was like, I'm going to go visit Chawton House in Alton, Hampshire, England, where the Jane Austen Museum is. So this was also one of her homes, and this is where she actually wrote Pride and Prejudice, Sense and Sensibility. But there's this whole story about how I was like, I'll go, and I'll get a taxi to, you know, her house. Well, London is quite different from the whole of England, and Sunday in this kind of sleepy little town, it's near impossible to get a cab, so I literally had to walk. And I only had a very vague notion of where to go or how to get there, because this is back in the days before social media was really huge. So I had to walk in my little leopard print slippers, which were not great for walking in, but I'm so happy that I did it, and so happy it worked out that way, because I got to take some really beautiful pictures of the English countryside. And, you know, not something I would have done otherwise. But here's inside Chawton House, and this was the kitchen area, and I loved it. And here's a little bit of a memento that I brought back. It was a stamp that said this book belongs to, and you can like write it in, but I just cut that part off. But it says Jane Austen. It has her silhouette, which I love. And this is an old American Crafts line of paper called Classics. It says this is the Pride and Prejudice one, and I love it. It's perfect. I mean, I had to use roses on here for English roses. This is actually, this is Pride and Prejudice. It's just a paperback that I picked up at Half Price Books, and, you know, ripped it apart and just added to the symbolism on the page. And here's her desk. This is also in Chawton House. This is a total scrapbook of the lovely Jill Sprout. She'll forgive me, I hope. I loved this paper, and I loved the design that she had made. Something similar to this with circles, so I just mimicked it and, you know, filled it in with the chair and more of the chair stuff from October Afternoon. Here's you can barely see it. It's Versamark inked stamps. They're books here. Here's another page of Pride and Prejudice. Some more roses, the stamp, a doily, of course. A little rose, another rose, and a feather because of the feather here. And that is the end of this album. Well, that's the number of pages I have left in this in the album, but it's clearly not finished because there's plenty of other memories. But I just wanted to have a flip through and a chat with you all about one of my favorite albums, and one of my favorite places, really. So thanks so much, and I will catch you on the blog. Cheers.